Hello, friends, and welcome back to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark.
And I'm Midge Munster. And I was telling Penny moments before we started recording that, as it frequently seems to happen, I had a totally other topic planned for this episode. I even mentioned it, I think, in my last episode, that I was like, I was going to do something else.
Yeah.
And that one has been bumped yet again because something online derailed me. And
it happens to the best of us.
Yep, and I followed that dopamine rabbit right down the hyperfixation hole. And this episode is going to be maybe like a little bit outside of our usual scope, but I think as we go, you will all see where I was coming from and how I thought this fit into the Ghouls Night In cinematic universe.
Oh, I'm so intrigued to hear what we got.
So today I want to talk about the fall-winter 2026 line from Maison Margiela.
Okay.
Have you seen?
I have
seen
this. Yes.
I was like,
I see your vision, Mitch.
Okay, because I was like, if you haven't seen it, you've at least seen me sharing about it, because I've been annoying as hell since this dropped. When we're filming this when we're recording, this came out like 3 days ago. So I'm deep in it. And this was like the most inspired I have been by art in quite some time. And so I wanted to yap about it, and I hope that you guys will find it as interesting as I do. But I'm about to give a disclaimer. I first and foremost want to say, I am so extremely new to the world of fashion in this particular way. Like, obviously, Penny and I are both clothing girls. I love clothes. I love to dress up. But as far as like runway fashion, I had zero information about this until about 2 years ago. And it wasn't something that really interested me previously. So I hope if you, listener, are also like, why would I care about runway fashion? That this is supposed to be a spooky podcast. Why are we talking about this? I hope this episode can maybe open your mind to some things that you might not be aware of. And I want to give massive credit to our friends Cheyenne Wise and Devin Prisgoda for both really like educating me and introducing me to these things. Cheyenne and I went to a Jeremy Campbell exhibit that's not right. Moschino. Jeremy Scott? See, I suck.
She's not a fashion show girly.
But we went to an exhibit that was on display here in Kansas City, and that was like the beginning of what permanently altered my brain, of being like, oh
yeah.
And then Devin is a huge McQueen fan, and he had showed me a lot of McQueen's work. But then what really shifted things for me was Devin showed me the Spring 24 Maison Margiela show. And that, we'll talk more about that show in particular in a bit, but like that was the moment that I said, oh, it's art.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. But basically all this to say, I know some of y'all are probably fashion people. And if you're listening to this at any point and you're like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, you're right. You're right, I don't. And I'm still very much learning about this world, and I am not an expert, but I am fascinated by the things that are happening right now, and I needed to talk about it. So here we go. How does any of this fit into the world of Ghouls Night? Well, there has been a lot of horror inspiration in fashion, always, really, but specifically in the last few years, I feel that we're seeing a really big renaissance of this. Robert One is a big name that came to mind for me here. If you have seen his 2024 horror couture show, many of you might have seen like the viral white wedding dress with the red beaded blood spattering.
So good.
Yeah, beautiful. That's Robert One. He also works really heavily with figural elements. So if you've seen images where models have like a looming figure behind them that's part of the gown, or they might have like extra arms holding up the veil of the dress or what have you, that's kind of a signature piece for him. And it's very cool. And one of the dresses, which was also from that same line, has like a red kind of head and arms wrapped around the model from the back. Also very like early pinup as well,
Yeah.
like with the devil dresses where like the devil's wrapped around the pinup girls. But yeah, very, very cool, spooky shadow figure vibes from that line. You also may have seen just recently, Angus Swee's Fall 26 vegan leather collection that bears a very heavy like Hellraiser Cenobite vibe, was very cool on the runway. And so there are these modern examples that we're seeing, horror inspiring fashion, but in general, there have been like many, many shows throughout the years that have done this. I felt like I had to bring up, because we're here with Penny today, that the Gareth Pugh Winter 2016 show where the models all wore Silence of the Lambs masks on the runway. Yeah, very, very cool, with a lot of like very structured suiting to kind of pay homage to that film. It was really cool. And then Devin showed me too, there were Alexander McQueen, Winter 99, he did a show entitled The Overlook that was fully inspired by The Shining. And the models are in like a kind of a glass labyrinth box, and there's snow inside the box, and they're walking through the snow. It's very cool and spooky, and again, performance art. It's
for sure. Like I am also like, I'm not a big designer person, but I do really love like a kind of artistic runway. Like there are definitely some shows that are just kind of next level with that, and I've always kind of enjoyed seeing that, drawing inspiration. I mean, obviously there's so many amazing like Mugler runways.
Yes.
And just so just echoing that. I love the performance art side.
Yeah. Well, and I think like, you know, in my head, I knew that some of that existed, but I thought it was a lot fewer and far between. But I'm finding that to not be as true as I thought it was. And of course, I'm sure you found this too. Like the world of drag has opened my eyes so much as well, because so many drag artists are so plugged in to the pulse of what's happening in fashion. And I feel like Lexi Love was a person for me where, you know, it's like every runway she hit, she was referencing some like designer show. And I was like, oh, I don't understand this because I just am uneducated. And so it made me interested to go find these references. And yeah, it's just, it's its whole other language. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But outside of like horror specific references, a lot of the fashion that I have currently been drooling over is just like haunting. And invokes this feeling of like morbid beauty. And that is how I was impacted by this Maison Margiela line that they just showed in Shanghai this week. But before we go there, I also just want to talk a bit about Margiela, like the house and how we got here. So Maison Margiela is like a somewhat newer fashion house in the world of like, they still were founded in the 80s, but when you're looking at like Gucci and Prada, houses that have been around for a very long time, Margiela didn't come into the play until 88. They were founded in Paris. And that's important too, though, to what their house is, because they came into the scene. I mean, the late 80s in general, we're already just looking at a lot of like subversive culture, a lot of pushing against the grain because of what was happening politically, what was happening musically, culturally. Like everything was just a little bit grittier, a little bit different. And so Margiela comes out, and has this focus really on nonconformity and using unconventional materials and kind of deconstructing what fashion is. And one of their house codes that you might be familiar with are tabby shoes. That's a big, I feel like a thing that people are very aware of right now, which is, well, it's their signature split toe shoe, which is, of course, inspired by traditional 15th century Japanese fashion. So it's not their signature, but it is a big mark for their house. If you see
a signature they have adopted.
Yes. And the Japanese sock is of the same name, actually, is also called tabby. So that's where that name comes from. But that split toe is kind of a really good marker of like what Margiela is about, because something I love about a tabby is that it gives the foot a hoof-like appearance.
It sure do.
Yeah, it makes you look like a little centaur.
A cute little fawn.
A cute little fawn. And while I think a lot of people are probably deterred by that or off-put by that, I love it. And in general, Margiela has focused a lot on this idea of like alteration of the human appearance and form for their fashion. One of their signatures on the runway is for the model's face to be hidden or obstructed either by hair, or they use a lot of masks, which they are not the only fashion house to do this, but they do it most of the time. Whereas like other designers might implement this for a show. This is kind of Margiela's thing. And of course the idea is to pull attention away from the face to the garment itself. But you can kind of see between like little hoof feet and obscured faces how this fashion house might become to be seen as a bit ooky spooky. So why now? Why are we talking about this? In the last 2 years, what has really caught my attention is the use of doll imagery in their shows. And the show I mentioned previously from Spring 24 that first really caught my eye was technically like it was John Galliano's last show with Margiela, which he is a person who has done some not great things.
Yes, but has made such beautiful clothes.
He's unfortunately a genius, and that's really irritating.
Yep.
But he has made comments both of a racist nature and an anti-Semitic nature. He was let go from Gucci, I believe, or Dior.
Dior, because I
Dior.
love his collections for Dior, but he's a bad man.
He's a bad man. Yeah, not a great human. But was brought on as the creative director of Margiela after Martine Margiela left, and made some absolutely freaking stunning choices. The 24 spring show was really about paying kind of homage to like the seedy underbelly of Paris. But there was a lot of doll stuff happening because the models' faces in that time around, rather than being hidden by a mask, were coated in a glass skin technique.
Yes.
Yeah, that was brought about by renowned makeup artist Pat McGrath. And I'm sure most of y'all have seen this because it went viral online.
Yes, everybody was doing glass skin.
Everybody was buying glass skin. And in tandem with that, one of my favorite things from that show was they implemented these collar pieces that looked like what you would, like the neck of a China doll that you would use to attach, like sew it to the stuffed body. And so, and it wasn't like heavily used throughout the show. It definitely wasn't the focus, those collars and things, but like, on the models that it was, the glass face and the collar made them look like dolls, and it was very creepy and cool. So Galliano had referenced in an interview about that show that him and McGrath's muse was this 100-year-old doll named Auntie.
Ooh.
And she is a like full life-size doll, and it's this whole thing. Again, if he wasn't such a shitbag, I would be fascinated. Like, he's like, yeah, I found her in a flea market in Paris years ago, and I just, like, I had to have her. And he bought this, like, Victorian wheelchair to put her in so he can wheel her around. And supposedly she, like, sits in on all of his fittings. And he's been, like, quoted in other interviews as saying that he like had porcelain dolls that would like a ton of them that would sit around like a table at his previous office. Like, he's a doll guy apparently.
He's a doll guy, yeah.
And we'll post a picture of Auntie on the Ghouls Night page, because she is spectacular. She's this weird little, almost a dummy really, but she's got on this like fabulous hat, and she like has a parasol, and she's sitting in her little like cane back wheelchair, and she's been photographed by like famous photographers. Like,
what a diva.
The people love Auntie. Anyway, point being, fast forward to 2026. Now Galliano is no longer with Margiela, which is great, because now we can be excited about this line that just happened. But we are still seeing this haunted doll like motif in full effect on the runway. So this line that just came out is under the direction of Glenn Martins, the new creative director, and is paying homage to Margiela's like footing where they started, but in these new ways. And so, like I said, one of the things the house was built on was using unconventional materials. One of the first lines they did in '89 featured a broken porcelain tableware waistcoat. And so this year's show, they have kind of built on this and pulled in new ways by making a fully porcelain gown.
Yes.
This particular dress was made of 500 pieces of small porcelain that were broken by hand, corners rounded off, and then were sewn to an organza underlay. This dress is astounding to watch in action for a couple of reasons. One, the sound that it makes.
Yes.
The sound it makes walking down the runway is, ooh, it's so like tinkly and weird. Did you happen to see the movie Stop Motion, Penny?
I did
a couple years ago.
No.
Oh, I can't recommend it enough. For those of you who enjoyed like Oddity or I know like I haven't seen it yet obviously, but Hokum is coming out. It's also from producers of Oddity. If you like that kind of horror that's like atmospheric and kind of folk, but like also just upsetting.
Yeah.
Stop Motion.
Ooh, I'll have to look
so good. I saw it in theaters, and it's a woman who takes over her like mother's stop motion project and kind of becomes too invested in the world. And hey Midge, what does this have to do with Margiela? Well, let me tell you. In the film, she kind of begins seeing everything around her as stop motion. And so one of my favorite parts of it was the sound design, because I saw it in the theater, and, you know, like she would be talking to people and they would move like an arm or something, and she would hear the armature like creaking.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so unsettling. And this is what this dress reminds me of, is like this, like a human body shouldn't be making that sound when it's moving.
Yeah.
And because of the stiffness of the material, it also makes the model move in this very like jumpy, unsettling way.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre and haunting. Positive connotation.
Yes. Parentheses, positive.
Positive. Just was very interesting and cool. Another way that the doll motif played into this was with dresses that were airbrushed fabric that were, pleated in a certain way and then layered over with a glass organza that is invisibly stitched in place. And that layering gives the fabric this slick, glazed look. It looks like glazed porcelain pottery. And all the pleating is structural and held in place on the runway. So the dress moves, but only kind of is like one piece. And the model looks like a little bisque doll. Like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And for those types of gowns, the models wore printed glass organza masks that featured painted doll faces. So the whole thing just has this like very uncanny feel of a porcelain doll like taking a walk. And it's so spooky and I love it so much. The tagline that Margiela used for this show was "The Curiosities of a Parisian Flea Market After Hours."
Oh, I love it.
I need that meme from, is it the Futurama, where it's like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Yes.
Like, that's this
like, hell yes.
like for us specifically. And because of that, they used a lot of old or like sourced like vintage thrifted materials. They did a gown out of like a threadbare tapestry that was not able to be like salvaged. So they stitched it back together with like sequins and made a gown out of it. It's just like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And because they're using, not just fabric materials, but like things, all these bizarre, there's a dress made out of like a painting that they found on the floor of an old flea market. So everything about this line feels very liminal. Like, it feels kind of like a mansion left abandoned. And I think what pushed that even further is they have a real recurred presence of like negative space being used throughout the line as well. And one of the ways that was implemented is a technique that I have not stopped thinking about. So they took a like mannequin or like a form of the model, covered it in like a plaster, and pressed antique jewelry into it, all over it. Then covered that in a mixture of latex and paint, and then that was peeled off after it dried to create a gown. So the latex, it's like a full bodysuit because the mannequin had hands and everything. So it's like a full latex impression of all this jewelry, but like the negative image of it. It is so cool. It's like the haute couture version of peeling glue off your skin in elementary school, but make it a gown, and it looks so dope. I've never, and again, I'm not well versed in fashion, so I'm like, I've never seen anything like that. Maybe someone else has done something similar before. I don't know. But to me, this was like revolutionary, and I was freaking the frick out. The other part about that gown with the jewelry impression that is so cool is that a lot of the gowns in the collection, this one included, are of an Edwardian silhouette, which of course is just so beautiful. And the last piece that I want to talk about is also one of the Edwardian gowns. And it is the whole freaking reason that I have an animalistic obsession with this collection and why you are having to hear about it now. And it is an Edwardian morning gown covered in beeswax that they allowed to dry and then cracked it apart to like expose the fabric. Guys, you guys, I love this gown. I love this dress for so many reasons. When I first saw it, it just looked like rot. Like, it looks like mold or something all over the dress, which again, for most people, they're probably like, yuck. I was like, that is so beautiful. What is that? And the model's face is covered. So again, we've got a full like mask of what looks like rot and mold. It's just, it's so good. So then once I did find out what it was, I was gooped because, first of all, y'all know my obsessions with bees.
Yes.
And then you add that it's a morning gown. But on the Margiela site where they show like their research and reference for the line, they show this gown next to a damaged photograph of a woman in a morning gown. And of course, you know, if you know what I'm talking about, like when you see a damaged photograph and it has those cracks and things from the folding of the paper or what have you, like splintered, it looks just like the dress. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, to be able to translate this kind of loose, like something that are just not in the same medium at all, and to be able to translate that into fabric is so insane.
I will say I had not looked as closely into the collection as you did, so I didn't know that's what it was, but that was the gown that I immediately was in love with also. Yeah, that I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful.
Yeah, it arrested me. I was like, oh my god. And of course, what I think stood out to me the most after, like, again, learning about what was happening with it is I do not know if this was the artist's intent, but I have to imagine that using a morning gown was a purposeful choice. And I think this dress is such a just gorgeous visual statement about grief. I know, like, we've talked in the past on episodes here about, you know, people would dip flowers and things in wax to preserve them. And so, you know, literally, like, preserving this dress as it was fully encased in wax in this moment of mourning, and then cracking through it to expose these new spaces that start to come forward as we move through grief. Like, it just, I don't know, it really, like, stunned me. And it was exciting to be so blown away by something.
Yeah.
Because, like, and I think, too, you know, you and I are both in a similar phase of life. Being 30 is awesome in so many ways. Like, being in your 30s is, like, in some ways you've never been a better version of yourself. But in other ways, you're dealing with things you never had to deal with as a young person. Hopefully. Hopefully. I'm sure plenty of people do. But, like, that, like, this phase of life for me, at least, has been so inseparable from grief. And this just really, like, freaking struck me of how, like, the parts of the dress that are encased in this wax are, like, preserved forever as they are. And that I was like, this dress is me. Like,
and the dress,
like, the grief is, like, it's trapped in there always, but then you break and you make room for new things. And oh my god, it's just beautiful. It was freaking beautiful, and the dress is healing me is the whole point of
Yes, I mean, and I think that we're accustomed to having that kind of emotional reaction to, like, something that's narrative.
Right, to
like
a movie
or a book. And so it's always, I feel like, a very special and striking experience when, like, a piece of visual art, be it a painting or a piece of clothing, just, like, can strike you in that same way and give you that same, like, deep emotional response.
Exactly. And you know, in that line too of just, like, I think part of what I found so moving too was just, like, this whole collection is such a massive fuck you to AI.
Yeah.
Like, every single one of the artisanal pieces in this collection are, like, not only made by hand, but, like, thousands and thousands and thousands of man hours of, like, artisanal craft and, like, hand embroidery and like things that are becoming lost skills, and you can see it and you can feel it when you look at them. Like it's it really moved me. That so and I loved too, like, you know, a lot of the simpler like pieces, the more ready to wear stuff, even that they left unfinished edges and like things about it that are rough and messy and even ugly to some extent, and that's what makes it really beautiful. It's like it's human. And I was very, very moved by it, and I had to bring it up and yell about it on our platform. So I hope that y'all care and that you found this interesting in some capacity, even if this is not your shtick. I know this is not our usual thing, but when I'm that struck by something, I got to talk about it.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. This is my podcast, and I'll talk about the wax dress if I want to.
Yes.
Well, that is that, and thank you all so much for giving me space to yap. If you also were moved by this, I would love to hear about it. Or also, you know, if you were like, I hated that, let's have a discussion. I love to hear people's opinions. You can chat with us over on our Discord. We would love to hear what you think about this or any. Like I said, I'm so new to fashion. Send me your must-see, like, horror-inspired couture. I would love to do even deeper dives. I don't know if I can. It's our podcast. I can say what I want. I was like, I don't know if I can say that. One of my new hobbies has become taking a little like half edible and watching a fashion show.
Oh yeah.
I like to just really fully experience it. So send me some weird stuff to watch.
And yeah, when you mentioned like drag before, I don't know if you've watched it all, but like I really enjoy like Violet Chachki and like Naomi Smalls have both posted videos of like watching fashion shows and kind of like talking through them, which I find very helpful, especially like, I don't know, it's nice to hear it not from like your kind of standard fashion industry type person. Right. So
right.
Well, cool
yeah, it's interesting because it's like there are so many, and I think that's why I didn't engage for so long, is like there's so many negative things wrapped up in that world, right? But also there's so much about it that is inherently political. It's inherently queer. It's inherently, I mean, fashion. We could do a whole freaking episode about like resistance fashion and ways that that's been, you know, used. And I'm finding that people that I'm very inspired by when I look at their fashion are people who are pulling from the runway world and using it to further push like what they want to say. And so just trying to learn more and be open to the parts of it that are worth being open to.
Yes, for sure.
Well, if you are enjoying us and you would like to let us know, it would mean so much to us if you would leave us a rating or a review wherever you listen, if you're able. If not, you can always shoot us a DM on Instagram, or you can leave comments now on Spotify, which I believe Penny has a Spotify comment to share.
I do. This comment is from Rin, and is on our saponification episode.
Yeah.
Rin says, learning about corpse soap whilst cleaning a deer skull and thinking about him being deer goo soap. Would it taste like venison? The urge to lick the forbidden soap. This pod gives me something to look forward to. I shared the pod with my sister, and we have fun chatting about the episodes. I often find myself laughing or smiling along. I love learning things, and the topics are a great log of awesome stuff to research. Thanks for the love you put into this project. A sky full of stars to you both.
Aww.
I also would want to lick the forbidden soap, Rin, so I feel ya.
The beginning of that comment had so much, like, Night Vale energy. I loved it. would it taste like venison? The urge, like the forbidden soap.
Right, and I love that our listeners are listening to us whilst cleaning skulls and other useful activities.
That's actually one of 5 pre-approved activities to do whilst listening to Ghouls Night In.
100%.
Well, thank you, Ren, for your comment. We appreciate you. And if y'all would like to keep up with us or see pictures of Auntie, you can follow us over on Instagram at Ghouls Night in Pod. And if you're looking for me, you can find me all over the web at Midge Munster.
And you can find me at Penny Snark.
And until next time,
Goodbye.